Okay. June 10th, Tuesday. We're turning up. Come on in. Hey guys, big live show tonight, fully stacked up. I got my red folder ready to go. We're going to be talking about it in tonight's live show. 2025 XRP Bullrun update. Can everybody let me know that you're live with me in the chat? Thank you so much for being here. I want to mic check it too. Can we check the mic? So a ghost came into my office here and adjusted my mic, I think. And so I've been trying to dial it in over the past couple of videos. I noticed on this morning's update, it was like super loud volume. And so I'm hoping I dialed it back a little bit and we're just right. Let me know. I got my fan going too. So just trying to get us dialed in here before we get into it, because we got a fully stacked lineup here tonight. Sounds good. Great. Fantastic. Big live show tonight. Let's get right on into it. Here's the situation. And I'm going to be careful here. It's already a little bit hot up in my office, and I know I'm going to get worked up here tonight, so we're going to try to stay focused. But if you can't tell by now, this is a military operation. If you can't tell by now, President Trump is not here to play games, okay? He is going to see it that we shoot to restore the republic. That is the goal. Restore the republic, bring about a level playing field, and he's going to finish the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. He wants it to happen under his watch. Now, in the process, our enemy has declared war against us. They have declared war against life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field. They want to cheat, lie, steal, and live in cities and states of lawlessness that is so far from what our country should be. So far from a level playing field where me and you can raise our children, teach them about work, a little bit of discipline, how to obey laws that allow us to have a functioning society, and also contribute to said society, not just be takers from said society, not showing up everywhere we go with our hand out, but actually producing real value. And the many people will refuse to get on the right side of the transfer of wealth, whether they be distracted, whether they be simply misled. Many people confused right now about what's taking place, but there is absolutely no confusion within our community that knew the military was the only way. We knew it was a military operation. If you think for 1 second that XRP is an ordinary currency that's not part of a military operation, you don't understand what this really is. RLUSD on the XRP ledger is how you save the dollar. Of course, there's a USDC. Of course, there's a USDT. What is it backed by? We don't know. But RLUSD is the standard when it comes to a US dollar derivative stablecoin. The XRP ledger is the standard when it comes to distributed ledger technology and moving value, a ledger that is focused on liquidity. How do you prevent World War III? How do you solve a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis? Can you do it with Bitcoin? No. XRP's arrived on the scene over, 12 years ago, 13 years now. What are we at? 13, 14 years now that XRP's been around. And yet still so many people don't know about it. So many people don't understand. And a lot of new people coming into XRP still don't understand that this is a military operation. Many people don't understand why we have a red folder. They still think that this is a meme. They still think that this is about a buyback. They don't understand how we are in the trenches fighting a war to restore our republic. This is not a game. This is not a joke. I might trade meme coins, but don't get it twisted. We are at war with the enemy. I wanted to set the tone for tonight before we got into tonight's live show and we talk about the next meme that's going to double and triple up our bags. I know you guys want the ticker. I got a new ticker. Did you see my update? You probably didn't. Because if I don't put XRP in the title, nobody watches. But I did put out an update. SHX pump alert. Stronghold. We'll talk about it later. Just like we captured Zebek. I was at Lowe's here today picking up some American flags. And, well, really, I went for curtains. I went for a curtain rod and curtains. And I walked out with a few American flags. Because we're going to be celebrating this country. I don't know what some of these guys are doing. Playing around. But we're going to be celebrating life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness on a level playing field. So help me God, this enemy has no chance against us. We have the tools. XRP finishes the story. Over a decade ago when I started to learn about the conspiracy, and it wasn't just a theory, it is absolutely real. And we're talking about the Federal Reserve. We're talking about something that's not political, that's not left, right, up, down, but it absolutely is part of an agenda to undermine this country. And so many people are not going to get on the right side of the transfer of wealth because they're worried about Trump. They're worried about political correctness. I'm just going to stop right there. I'm not going to continue down that road because I don't want to get in trouble tonight. Some people are worried about playing around. We are concerned about profit for our family that we earn by providing real value to our communities, whether that be you servicing your local community or whether you have an international platform like I now am so blessed to have, where we have an audience that's tuning in around the world. I know we focus on the United States pretty heavy, but that's because we want to lead by example, the tip of the spear defeating this evil, building out that level playing field. And we have a neutral bridge currency in XRP that truly does solve the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis if we want it to, if we let it. And we know that the enemy's been attacking us. The problem is they're losing their grip. The enemy is losing their grip upon XRP and the people restoring this republic. Without further ado, let's get into the update. Had to set the tone. If you haven't already, we got to like it. We got to tap it. We got to smack it. We got to share it out far and wide. And we got to save this country. Let's go. Check it out. Military was the only way. U.S. troops providing security for ICE in L.A. See, my grandfather was a Marine. I was raised by a Marine. Oh boy, I'll leave it at that. I was raised, my dad was in the Navy, my grandfather was in the Marines, and my great-grandfather was in the Army. He served World War II, my grandfather served in Vietnam, and my dad, he didn't serve during wartime, but he was in the Seabees, in the Navy. And so I grew up with a family that knew what we stood for, knew our values. We knew how important this opportunity in America really was. My family, descendants of Iceland, where we come from, part of my family, part of my lineage, immigrants to Iceland the proper way. Back when they would give you a farm, a homestead, when you arrived. Now, we want great people to come to this nation. We want people who obey law and order. And we want to expand this opportunity for as many people as possible. But the problem is, you have good people that are trying to stand up. You have good people that are frustrated, but I've been talking about them and they've been completely activated. I call them the activated agents. These are people that are paid, just like President Trump said in today's press conference. No doubt about it. He reiterated it multiple times. These are paid agitators. I call them activated agents, and I've been sounding the alarm that they would be activated in the streets of America once again. Just like they were back in 2020, the same thing's playing out right now. The enemy is getting desperate. Military was the only way. Federal judge sides with Trump over Newsom, will not force Trump to withdraw the National Guard and our Marines. Another loss for Newsom. We're going to be taking back the streets of L.A., and Governor Newsom, well, he definitely can't run his state right, and the guy can't even run a press conference. Now, I can't give him too much crap because I've had my own issues, technical difficulties with the live stream, but apparently he gave his address here tonight, but they didn't turn the mic on. No mic, no outlets have an audio feed. Uh-oh, Newsom, not able to get it done. But the agents have been activated around the country. This is in my neck of the woods up in Seattle. A whole bunch of silly folks up there. I was just down in at the UW. UW Medical Center is where I go to the doctors at for my ticker. I go check the ticker over there. Oh boy. Yeah, there's some, there's a reason why I call it Looney Land. It's Looney Tunes over here. The whack jobs are out in mass, DHS police retreat back into the federal building in Seattle after getting overpowered by the Antifa leftist mob. Tensions have dramatically increased and escalated. This is the scene on First and Madison. Large-scale clashes are now breaking out between anti-ICE rioters and police in Chicago. Anarchy Newsom sparked is now spreading nationwide. Democrats' lies are literally burning down our country. Police in Chicago are now deploying a bomb squad downtown after an anti-ICE rioter entered the sewer system and planted suspicious items. This is mayhem. We're getting very close to needing the National Guard deployed in Chicago. See, it's one thing when the silly kids are playing around with political correctness. It's another thing when we're dealing with the activated agents, which have declared war now against this country. That's what we're up against. It's one thing to play around with the kids, little crazy, little silly, a little this, a little of that, a little whatever makes you feel good. Little political correctness. Okay, have a good time. Sure, God bless you. Good luck. You're not going to get on the right side of the transfer of wealth, but hey, we tried to help you out. But you're too busy focused on living in Looney Tune land. Your mistake. But it's a different threat when we're up against activated agents which have been brought in this country and which have now been activated to full-on assault the law and order which we are trying to uphold. That's what we're up against. ICE to deploy tactical teams to 5 blue cities, armored vehicles and long guns coming in. Special response teams with Bearcat armored vehicles and tactical gear going to Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, Northern Virginia, and New York. These are the same unit. Yeah, got it. Basically, the point being, military was the only way. And it was reminding me tonight as I was getting ready to do this live show tonight on the Mr. Poole pictures, right, of all the military. You guys remember that? For the OGs in the XRP community that have been here since 2020 and before, you remember all the Poole pictures? Military in the streets, military operation. A lot of people thought that this was just a joke. A lot of people thought that we were just throwing that around because we wanted to sound cool. No, it absolutely. This is the largest military sting operation in the history of mankind, is still ongoing. It didn't stop back in 2020. It was ongoing during the 2022 election. It was still ongoing during the 2024, which now when new lawsuits come about, they're saying that Kamala won. Sure. The largest military sting operation in the history of mankind is still ongoing. And in the meantime, the greatest transfer of wealth in world history continues. You know, part of me thinks, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below, what's happening right now to bring about a new world is the inner cities of America are being gutted all by design. You know, President Trump was commenting on it at his press conference earlier today, that this seems to be coordinated, planned, and these are activated, paid protesters. Absolutely 100% planned. And you might be asking, well, Zach, how does this relate to our cryptocurrency portfolio? We're going to get there. We're going to get there. The opportunity is to be buying the dip during the Insurrection Act, if that's what happens. I've been talking about buying the dip during the alien invasion. What did we do last week? We bought the dip during the President Trump, Elon Musk feud. I said, I'm not worried about what the Black Swan event's going to be. I'm worried about, will I be in position to buy the dip? Will I be in position for blackout barter? By the way, our silver's up to $37 per ounce. Dang near. Pretty close, $36 per ounce. Do we have blackout barter? Do we have essentials? I was out in my garden this day cutting down broccoli, harvested some oregano, and we got some strawberries coming in. Blueberries and raspberries to follow, with more on the way. What do you got? What do we got ready to go? Because our enemy is moving against us. And the plan is for us to take this opportunity to stack as much as we can of the suppressed assets before that big, beautiful bill gets passed. I titled this morning's update, XRP Big, Beautiful Bull Run. And boy, does it trigger people when I say that we're still in a bull run. even though XRP's up 350% since the election. And folks are still offended that I call it a bull run. Sit down and lock in, please, if that's you, because we're about to go do it again, a 300%, okay? And the point being, folks are so distracted and caught up in this chaos that they're going to completely miss this opportunity to scoop up a $2 XRP before we go to a $20 XRP. They're going to miss this opportunity to pick up, like we called out today, Stronghold, while it's at just a penny, before it does a few more multiples with ease. While Wall Street's happy to get 8 to 10%, we are destroying those returns in the moves that we've been making in the cryptocurrency space. Like I said, not only are so many people going to miss this opportunity, but even the people that are trying to take advantage of this opportunity in Wall Street are late, are still not hitting it out of the park like we are. We are so dialed in over the target. We called Zebek, we called Joey, that one's still running, or in this case with Joey, the little baby kangaroo hopping to a new all-time high. I pointed out SHX today. It's going to go 100%, 100%, and 100% plus returns is what I'm expecting here, just short SHX. And I'm going to talk about it later too, because we have, I'm going to save the post. I'll talk about it later. The banksters are coming, and they're referring to the top 4 and then the rest of the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, and then the rest of the space. And we're going to remind everybody at that point that XRP has about 3 times as much gains as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana combined. You take the gains of Bitcoin since the election of 60%, the Ethereum gains since the election, which is 15%, and the Solana gains since the election, which is about 2.5%. You add all those up, it's about 80% gains. XRP up 350%. When I tell you that you add up all those gains and multiply them 3 times and then you reach XRP's return on investment since the election, I am not joking. I'm not pulling that number out of my you-know-what. This is the reality under the Trump presidency, under the continuation of the military operation. You better get locked in. Let's continue. And this is why so many fear, cities on fire, FUD, right, so much uncertainty. And we've been sounding the alarm that we're about to reverse out of this sucker. The trade deals are getting signed. The peace deals are getting signed. Law and order will be restored. The stablecoin legislation getting passed. The market structure bill being passed. The big, beautiful bill being passed, which is going to lead to a big, beautiful bull run for XRP, in particular because the ETFs go live and the SEC versus Ripple case is over. U.S. and China agree in principle on framework for new trade deal after 2 days of talks in London. It's going to get done. And don't take it from me, take it from the World Bank. The World Bank agrees with President Trump that countries use unfair trade practices and calls for them to lower tariffs on the United States. Now, wait, hold up. A complete world government entity in the World Bank is siding with Trump? That countries are being unfair to us? Wait, hold up. Are we living in an alternative reality right now, chat? Chat, what is going on? The World Bank is agreeing with President Trump? Don't take it from me. Take it from the World Bank. Let's get into crypto. And I got to tell you right now, a lot of uncertainty around Bitcoin right now. A lot of uncertainty around Ethereum. They already have ETFs live. Why is Ethereum lagging so much? I mean, I could tell you the answer if you really want it. There's a whole lot of clarity over in the XRP ecosystem. We'll get to that. But in regards to Bitcoin, there's currently, in regards to civil wars, there's currently a Bitcoin civil war going down and setting up for an October showdown. Bitcoin core devs just scheduled a controversial change for October. Progressive devs declare victory with plans to increase default mempool. op return limit from 80 bytes to nearly 4 megabytes. The battle over Bitcoin SOL intensifies. Now, I'm not going to get into the technical nuance on this. I'm not going to break it down for you guys because even I still don't understand this. I got to look into it further. But this has been a battle ongoing since Roger Ver had to split with Bitcoin Cash, which I do own a little bit of Bitcoin Cash. I don't own Bitcoin. Anytime I end up with Bitcoin, I dump it immediately. But I do own Bitcoin Cash. And this has been a battle ongoing since the block wars when they wanted to increase the block limit size to allow for more throughput of Bitcoin. But because these guys were incentivized basically to have smaller blocks, and it was going to be better for the miners and the existing core dev infrastructure providers, they fought Roger Ver and others that wanted to increase the throughput. Now, the same thing's taking place. This was an issue with Bitcoin Cash going back to 2017 when they forked, and there's been multiple forks of Bitcoin. Now, here we are, fast forward to 2025, and we still are witnessing a Bitcoin civil war taking place. Now, I'm not here to bash it. I'm just acknowledging that there's a lack of clarity as far as the direction of Bitcoin after it's been around for over, 13, 14 years, and we still haven't figured out Bitcoin yet? See, because this is such a big misconception in the cryptocurrency space. So many new people coming in and they just think that Bitcoin's this pure setup. Bitcoin's flawless, pure, sound money. It's the greatest iteration of distributed ledger technology. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And how far we've gone from the original white paper of peer-to-peer electronic cash. These miners want to throttle it down and choke the network so they can make that money. Now, speaking of a lack of clarity, Congressman William Timmons requests all documents related to the SEC's inconsistent treatment of Ethereum under Chair Gensler in the Biden administration. Hold up. We were called crazy, lunatic, whack jobs. I was told that I should be shut down for talking about ETHgate, for my red folder. I should be deplatformed for having my red folder, which is a folder that represents the fight and the grit, determination of the XRP family to just have a level playing field. And just to be able to understand what went wrong with the capital markets, which used to be the gold standard of the world, that have been hijacked. And now, Congressman William Timmons requesting all documents related to the SEC's inconsistent treatment of Ethereum under Chair Gensler in the Biden administration. And guess what he cites? That 2018 speech from Billy Boy Hinman. I guess we weren't so crazy after all. I guess we weren't lunatic whack jobs after. Now, I won't deny that we're a little bit crazy. You got to be a little bit crazy to be here with us in the XRP family. But we were directly over the target. And this is what I'm saying. Bitcoin world, it's not as clear as they thought it was. Little issues between the developers. Some want to scale it up. Some don't. Some want to keep it throttled down and make their money. Bitcoin, it might have clarity that it's not a security, but does it have clarity as far as the direction of the network? Nope. Ethereum, does it have clarity? Some people would suggest that it does, but other than an opinion being shared by SEC officials like Bill Hinman and Gary Gensler kind of reiterating it by basically just not answering. Say, well, I can't speak to any one crypto in particular. Yet, there seems to be a lack of clarity here when it comes down to it, with now a Congressman William Timmons coming in here requesting documents in relation to ETHgate. I guess ETHgate was real after all. Well, the funny thing about this too is all the people that said that we should be institutionalized, that said that we should be deplatformed and shut down for talking about ETHgate, they're all gone. They're all irrelevant. They're gone. They're not here anymore. You know why? Because not only did they say that we should be deplatformed for ETHgate, they also said that XRP was never going to break out. And then XRP pumped 589%, and we haven't heard from these fools ever since. Whoopsie daisies. That'll happen. How'd that program work out for you guys, by the way? They know who they are. I know they're watching. Let's continue. Hey, this is what they're deathly scared of. This is why the Bitcoin maxis keep attacking us. And I know somebody said yesterday, Zach, this is so childish that you keep on attacking Bitcoin. What did I talk about yesterday? I had to respond to Max Kaiser saying that XRP is what was it? It was the something that's dying that nobody realizes. And Max Kaiser says XRP. See, we're trying to get along. I had to go bury my red folder out from my closet. I'm trying to move on. I'm trying to move on from the tribalism of the Bitcoin bros. But they are the ones that keep attacking us. And the reason why they're still attacking us and going into overdrive, even though we have legislation, market structure bill for crypto, we should all be cheering this on, all coming together and rooting for the entire sector. But they're not. They're still attacking XRP. Why? Check this out. This is co-founder of Blockworks, Jason Yanowitz. He met with a top five bank the other day. They refer to tokens as, quote, the top four and then everything else. What's in the top four? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. This is what they're so scared of. Looks likely that we'll get the Solana ETF in the next few months. My guess is the next ETF after Sol will be XRP. Don't shoot the messenger. And you see even this guy, Blockworks co-founder Jason, he can't even talk about XRP being included in this without having to put out the caveat, don't shoot the messenger. Don't come at me. I spoke with the big bank, a top five bank, and yes, they got their eyes on XRP. Don't come at me. It's just what the banksters are telling us. And it's just what the banksters were putting in their white papers, the proof of concepts, all of the trials, all the partnerships that they had with Ripple, and the documentation that we have with XRP being included going all the way back to 2016 and before that. Did we need to wait for Jason Yanowitz from Blockworks to tell us that here today, that the banks had their eyes on XRP? Gosh, no. No. Only a fool would still be waiting to get confirmation of such a thing here in 2025. This is what they are so scared of. And now we have reports out of Bloomberg that the SEC could approve the spot ETFs for Solana within the next month. Now, it would not be fair. It absolutely would make sense because it'd be a continuation of suppressing XRP. And I talked about this, about how the SEC will probably approve the Solana ETFs the same day that they approve the Dogecoin ETFs. Maybe they'll even include a Litecoin ETF on the same day that they, approve the XRP ETF. Or maybe they even approve those ETFs before the XRP ETFs. Why? Because the damages are massive and they only keep adding to them. It's the facts. Many people tried to say we were wrong about the damages being massive. Look at what we're still up against. The possibility of them approving the Solana ETFs before the XRP ETFs. Even though we both have CME futures now live. There's no reason why either one shouldn't be approved. Once again, I'm not saying that Solana shouldn't be approved. It should. Level playing field is all we've ever wanted. It just seems that some folks wanted to make sure that they could continue lining their pockets by corrupting and hijacking our capital markets, working and collaborating with our SEC and other regulators to do so. The problem for them is that nothing can stop what is coming, which is a tidal wave of inflows into XRP after the ETFs go live. Folks, I'm going to take a sip of my adult beverage and then we're going to continue on this point. Stay tuned. Crypto markets are making history. The Bitcoin ETF IBIT, this is the BlackRock Bitcoin Spot ETF, has officially surpassed 70 billion in assets under management for the first time. It took just 341 trading days to reach this threshold, the fastest for any ETF on record. Now, we tip our hats off to the Bitcoin guys. I mean, great stuff, man. You broke out of the 4-year cycle. Bitcoin went to an all-time high before the halving. You guys ran up to a new all-time high. Well done. Hats off. We love to see it. We love to see it. But if you think for 1 second that this isn't going to be followed up by massive inflows into the XRP ETFs, you are in for a rude awakening, especially if you're not positioned in XRP. This has also surpassed the previous record of 1,691 days set by the gold ETF, which was 5 times slower. By comparison, for the S&P 500 ETF, VOO, this milestone was reached after 1,701 days. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has surged 57% over the last year, officially crossing over and above 110,000 for the first time in history. We are truly witnessing history. When you look at this chart here, you compare the IBIT to some of these other ETFs and how many days it took for them to reach 70 billion in assets under management. In the IBIT one, it's just not even close. Not even close. And what comes next is the XRP spot ETFs. And you have to recognize, this is 70 billion in assets under management. So this accounts for all of the inflows into that IBIT ETF and all of the outflows, right? Because not everybody's just pouring money into this thing. Some people are taking profits. Some days there are outflows, right? We got inflows and outflows. We've been tracking them. And this ETF, when you take the net, right, the inflows and the outflows, we're still left with 70 billion in assets under management. Now, because of this pent-up demand and the suppression and the lack of ability to get exposure to XRP, I'm actually expecting this to be very explosive as far as the inflows into XRP when these spot ETFs do go live. Because go back to the previous post that I just shared with you guys, the top banks in the United States are looking at this as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and then the rest of crypto. They've been waiting to get exposure to XRP. They weren't able to. They've been waiting to buy XRP from Ripple if they hadn't already, waiting for this case to conclude so they didn't have to worry about being involved in an investment contract, which, you know, they got tied up in, Ripple did, right? 70 billion in assets under management for the IBIT. That's just one of the spot ETFs for Bitcoin, right? There's over 11 that went live day one. I don't know how many more there are now. But we have dozens of XRP ETFs that are on the way as well, too. This is coming for XRP. And even if let's just stay conservative, just like JP Morgan did. JP Morgan predicted 4 to 8 billion. Well, 7 billion would be 1/10 of the assets under management currently for the number one Bitcoin spot ETF, the IBIT. This is coming for XRP 100%. It's just a matter of, is it going to be 5 to 10 billion of inflows? Is it going to be 20 billion of inflows? Or are we going to see, like we've seen with Bitcoin ETFs, 50 billion plus of inflows into XRP? Now, I've already done the math and played around with the numbers. And I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. If you're trying to understand where XRP is going over the next 12 to 24 months, account for at least 5 billion of inflows into XRP, if not 10, if not 20. And you can go through a couple different simulations there. And I'll tell you right now, with ease, you go to a double-digit XRP. Very easily could reach up to a $20 or $30 XRP, which from today's price would be nearly a 10x or more if we go up between 20 and 30 bucks. Yet so many people are distracted by today's price action or the price action in the chop since the beginning of this year. They're missing the point. See, you heard me say price is a distraction when XRP was at 20 cents, when XRP was at 50 cents, when XRP couldn't break through the 60-cent iron wall. You remember that one? Shout out to Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb came up with that one. I remember that. The 60-cent iron wall. We rejected off that level like 5 times. And then we finally busted through. And I was saying that price was a distraction then. Just like I was saying it at $1. Just like I was saying it at $2. Just like I was saying it at $3. Okay, we come back down to $2. I'm still saying it. And I'm going to be saying it when XRP's at 20 bucks. Because that won't be the end of the story for XRP either. Now, when you see what's happening, Flare, this is Flare Networks. Wall Street, institutions, national businesses are all watching XRP. Don't take it from me. Take it from Flare Network. Who else gets publicity like this? Who else, right, gets shouted out like this by another network? You don't really see this in the crypto space. But Flare Networks seeing the same thing that we are. And Flare, one of many people, like I've been saying, everybody and their brother is going to be showing up for your XRP. Flare Networks is showing up for your XRP. They're going to provide utility through F assets. You'll be able to basically lock up your XRP, help validate and delegate over towards Flare, and you'll be able to earn a yield on your XRP. Flare is one of many options in the growing XRP DeFi ecosystem, which is why, and I've been talking about this XRP go viral moment. While people are distracted on price, we're getting called out, shouted out by Flare Networks, Wall Street, institutions, national businesses, CoinDesk, sometimes also known as China Desk. Scott Chamberlain says, I don't remember CoinDesk covering previous apexes. No, they've never been there. And for the most part, the mainstream crypto news was always bashing XRP. Now they're showing up to our developers conference. They should have came to XRP Las Vegas too. I know they need the viewers. They should have been at XRP Las Vegas. These platforms are struggling. But now they're starting to come around. They're starting to come around. And we've been seeing it from the mainstream crypto influencers, the mainstream crypto news, the biggest banks, Wall Street, institutions, and we got more. You think we're done? We're far from done. Digital commercial paper is now live on the XRP ledger, administered by Guggenheim Treasury Services, one of the largest independent commercial paper platform managers in the world, and powered by Zeconomy. With 280 million plus in issuance, DCP is the first native digital commercial paper on the XRP ledger, bringing a fixed income asset secured by US Treasuries and rated Prime 1 by Moody's to the XRP ledger. This is not private ledger. This is not consultation. This is not fireside chat and a photo op. Oh, hey, look at my friend, like many other crypto projects like to do. No, this is live on the XRP ledger today. Commercial debt, commercial paper. Maybe those all the money guys weren't so crazy after all. They also wanted to deplatform us for talking about all the money. Even though we said, hey, all the money's not going to settle on the XRP ledger. The idea is that the XRP ledger is building out liquidity so that we're ready for all the money. We're not going to get all the money, but the intent is to be ready for all the money, ready to tokenize debt and every other RWA that's now being tokenized before us. But they wanted to deplatform us for talking about all the money, just like they wanted to deplatform us for holding up our red folder. Unfortunately for them, we're not going anywhere. And neither are the institutions. The institutions are only coming in faster to the XRP ledger ecosystem. Bill Morgan, with a little bit of context, Guggenheim Treasury Services is a subsidiary of Guggenheim Capital. The subsidiary specializes in institutional-grade treasury management solutions. Guggenheim Capital is a global financial services firm with $345 billion in assets under management or supervision. Digital commercial paper is a short-term fixed income asset fully backed by US Treasuries. Guggenheim previously launched this initiative on the Ethereum blockchain. Oh, really? Oh, really? They dipped their toe into Ethereum, you say. They did that last year, but obviously they hope to improve on that experience by tokenizing on the XRP ledger and taking advantage of the faster settlement times and lower fees. Remember? We were supposed to get all worried because everybody was starting to play around on Ethereum. JP Morgan launched a token on Ethereum. Nobody wants to use it. Nobody trusts JP Morgan, but that was going to be the XRP killer. How'd that program work out? All these other institutions and banks arriving in crypto, what did they start playing around with to begin with? Ethereum. And really, you can't blame them because it was the leading smart contract platform. It was the first one. It's like Bitcoin was number one for crypto and had that first mover advantage. Ethereum had the first mover advantage for smart contracts. And so sometimes you can lead a horse to water, right? But we can't make him drink. And so we led the horse to distributed ledger technology. And in this case, we said, hey, there's a fresh water flowing down a river here that's nice and pure. Good mineral water, good spring water for you. Or there's this stagnant pond over here that you can drink from, and that would be Ethereum. And the institutions ran in to the stagnant pond. They got sick of it, and now they're coming to the XRP ledger. It was inevitable. It truly was inevitable. And we tried to say, hey, Ethereum, great. You know, they were the first to market, first with the smart contracts. There's a reason why they've built out so much infrastructure and have such a big moat kind of built around them. But that moat's been slowly dwindling away, right? As more and more layer 2s on Ethereum basically take away from ETH, and then even other layer 1s begin to take away from ETH. And then for crying out loud, now the XRP ledger finally is getting programmability and smart escrow and smart functions programmability that basically allows us to do all the same functions and smart contract stuff that you could do on Ethereum on the XRP ledger without smart contracts, which is where all of the vulnerabilities and big hacks come from in the cryptocurrency space, is vulnerable smart contracts. And now the XRP ledger has the same level of programmability without smart contracts. Almost as if David Schwartz knew a little bit more than Vitalik and gang over there at Ethereum. Oh, and by the way, for these guys that already did build it out on Ethereum, that's okay, not a problem. Because now we have the EVM sidechain. So instead of having to rewrite everything that you've done, just tap into the EVM sidechain where you can settle up with XRP as the gas token for that network. And your problem is solved. But I find this so interesting. Commercial paper, which is just various forms of commercial debt on the XRP ledger. Once again, we were crazy for talking about all the money coming to XRP ledger. We were crazy for saying that the XRP ledger was going to be the best source of liquidity in the world. Are we there yet? Not quite, but we're still building that out. That's the direction and trajectory that we are heading. And the level playing field is here. My next clip here is Brian Quintes at his nomination hearing for the chair of the CFTC, Commodities Futures Trading Commission. He says, I view blockchain as a horizontal technology that has the potential to touch every aspect of society. The surest way to undermine U.S. global leadership in blockchain technology is to let bad actors and fraudsters proliferate. How should he approach crypto regulation if he is confirmed as the CFTC chair? Well, we can get Brian caught up to speed on what went wrong, on what not to do. I think Brian already knows, and I think that Brian is a patriot. He's an American who wants to build out that level playing field. He wants to keep the SEC in check, and he understands that most of this space should fall under the jurisdiction of the CFTC. But folks, Brian Quintes getting nominated, the Clarity Act passing in the House today, the stablecoin legislation about to get passed this week, the big, beautiful bill right around the corner, hone in specifically on catalysts to XRP like the SEC versus Ripple case ending and the spot ETFs going live. All of this leads us to a big, beautiful bull run, which will be led by XRP. X-Force Global. $3 to $4 XRP is inevitable in the next few months until proven otherwise. Despite frustration, despite lack of patience, despite people that got over leveraged and are, playing around with their XRP, despite the people that sold off their XRP and left, nothing can stop what is coming. And the next step in this journey is an inevitable $3 to $4 XRP. There is nothing bearish about the shorter, medium, and most important, macro time frame. We take a look at his chart, and what he shows us on his Elliott wave count, this is the technical analysis that X-Force Global likes to really focus on, is the Elliott wave theory. And he has us running all the way up here to $4 before we get a steep ABC correction back down potentially below $2. And the reason why I'm sharing this is to acknowledge that, yes, and I want to say this too, I believe that we hit $3 before we hit $2, right? We're going to hit $3 before we hit 2 again. We've already built that wall at $2 and the floor just keeps on rising. We're going up to $3 before we hit 2. Now, we also are going to run up towards $4, but at $4, we are at an all-time high for XRP. Everybody will be in profit and you will see a steep pullback. Now, he shows a potential all the way below $2. Is that going to happen? Is it, is it appropriate? Is it too early to maybe say that we never go below $2 again? I'm not going to say that yet. There is a potential. There absolutely is a potential where we run up to a new all-time high, $3.80 to $4 XRP, but we get such a massive sell-off at that level that we do pull back down, below $3 and back down towards $2. And then, so you might be asking, well, Zach, tell me when we get rich. Tell me when we go to $5 and beyond. We need massive inflows. And we need inflows that outpace the retail holders that are selling right now and basically keeping this market from being able to break through. The inflows come from the ETFs. The ETFs come maybe in the next month. Now that Bloomberg is reporting that the Solana ETFs might go live this month, why couldn't the XRP ETFs go live in the next month or two? And the base scenario, the final deadline's October. Many people suggesting that we'll have the XRP ETFs live in Q3. So in Q3 into Q4 of this year, in 2025, the reason why I titled this episode and live show tonight, 2025 XRP Bullrun Update, is to remind everybody that yes, the pump to $4 is right around the corner. It'll be followed up by a sell-off. It's going to pull back, but then we do launch to new all-time high price discovery and we approach $10 with ease later this year into Q3 and Q4 of this year. Some people will say, that's I can't wait that long. I'm out. Okay. The institutions aren't out. The banks aren't out. Wall Street's getting ready to sell it with slideshow presentations. But if you want to hit the exits, that's fine. I'm not going to stop you because I don't give anybody financial advice. I don't tell anybody to buy or sell anything, ever. But for those of us that hold the line, in regards to fighting for a level playing field, our victory is right around the corner. We defeat the SEC. Stablecoin legislation gets passed. Market structure bill gets passed. XRP ETFs go live. XRP enters a new reality where the suppression no longer can hold us back. And if at that point, all these things happen, and later this year, XRP doesn't reach up into new all-time highs, then we'll come back to the drawing board and then we can say, okay, maybe there is a problem here. But until that happens, there is nothing bearish about the shorter, medium, and most importantly, the macro timeframes. There just is nothing bearish about it. It might not be moving as fast as you would like it, but there's nothing bearish about it. Now, I want to take a quick look at our markets and then I want to get into rapid fire Q&A. I appreciate everybody for stopping by here tonight. Drop your comments and questions down below. We'll get to them here. 228 for XRP consolidating, and XRP already moved. The market moved back up into that June 11th date that we'd marked out here as we expected. In pretty good profit on my XRP long right now. That's good to see. Next Fed meeting's on June 11th. We'll be watching that. And really, tomorrow we get the CPI lie. So I wouldn't be shocked, a little bit of a pullback taking place. We went down to 225, basically 226 earlier today. So little pullback after this big run up. That's normal. And then we have CPI lie day, which typically brings in volatility. So if we do get a little bit of a pullback, don't get too greedy. Don't get too greedy trying to wait for a $2 XRP. I don't think it's coming. I think you might have a slight pullback before we continue higher into that next Fed meeting. Bitcoin back above 109,000. Okay. Closed off the day here yesterday, or today, June 10th, closed off the day at 110,000. So big, strong close for Bitcoin. Very, very good move right there. XLM has popped back up to 28 cents right now. Watching that one. And speaking of XLM, I mentioned it earlier in my video earlier today that I just dropped. SHX, a ticker that is on the Stellar Network. And look at that thing go. Look at that one go. All the way up here to nearly a penny and a half. Nearly a penny and a half. A little cool off here. But a big, big run up for Stronghold. And I still think that you got some more upside on this one. SHX is the ticker. ZBCN, red day, continuing to come on down here and consolidate. I'm waiting to see if this one wants to break back below, down to a quarter of a penny, basically below 0.003 to 0.0025. That's kind of the level that I'm looking for it to catch some consolidation at. ZBCN pulling back here a little bit. XRP futures market at 230 on Coinbase. This line right here at 211 is when I bought in. I bought the heck out of that dip. Like I said, no matter what the Black Swan event is going to be, no matter what causes the crash, the dip, the pullback, we stand ready. And last week it was Trump and Elon. We took advantage of that one. You bet ya. You bet ya. 211 is when I got the XRP long activated. Over 20% profit on that trade right now. The other one I wanted to take a look at with you guys here is Joey. Big run. Big momentum on the Joey ticker. Already live on Android, the Joey wallet. And the Joey wallet set to go live here on Apple next. This is another big driver. And it's why I threw the little Joey meme on the thumbnail of this video too. Because you have to understand what makes this bull run so great is the massive amount of onboarding from the retail space along with the inflows from the ETFs that we get. In combination, it takes XRP to a much higher price. Let's get into our rapid fire Q&A. I'm going to check the super chats real quick. If you haven't already, please make sure you like this show. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And let's go rapid fire Q&A. Red folder, Dennis, thank you for the 2 spots. I appreciate you. Yep, the activated agents they're paying on Craigslist. Yep. If you're looking for work, they might got a job for you. Yeah, Daniel Whitley from New Zealand. I appreciate you from around the world. You guys see it? Yep. Absolutely. I'm not going to mention that letter, the 17th letter of the alphabet. I won't mention, but you guys know. Dennis says Binance inability to transfer out XRP. They blame Ripple. Complete lie. Uphold showing exchanges will be bought out. Get off exchanges. Dennis, I've never trusted Binance. Never have. And they're giving a lot of people issues. Yeah, we've seen that. A lot of people that were on Binance US got screwed out. So yeah, I've never trusted Binance. And they're a big part of XRP manipulation as well too, I should add. Lee Kalafe, man, only let $2, but God bless Jesus coin. Amen. Amen. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go rapid fire Q&A. How's everybody doing tonight? You have to trade XRP for Joey, correct? Seems silly if XRP is going to be worth so much. Yeah, the whole point of trading the memes on the XRP ledger is to make more XRP, right? So it's actually kind of it's a hedge with XRP essentially, because all of these tickers are paired up against XRP. So even if the meme coin in relation to XRP is staying relatively the same, but XRP is increasing in value from a dollar standpoint, then you're winning. If the meme coin is appreciating against XRP, well, then you're winning again too. So either way, you're winning as long as XRP is going up and as long as that meme coin's going up. Now, if you're invested into the AMM, then you could have impermanent loss, and that's a little bit different of a play. But the way that I do it is we flip the meme coins to make more XRP. Same thing with SHX, right? So I transferred XLM on the Lobster wallet to SHX. I already had a bag of SHX before today, but I bought more today on SHX. And I'm going to be doing a deep dive after they release the escrow plan, whatever the escrow ends up being for SHX. Once that's done, then I will get in on the SHX deep dive, sorry. So, but I did that on Lobster, and so I swapped all of my XLM on Lobster to SHX, and then after SHX runs up, then I'll just swap back into XLM. So I'm basically trading that coin on the Stellar network to make more XLM, just like I trade some of the meme coins on the XRP ledger to make more XRP. It's the same program. Yeah. Thoughts on Velo? I haven't looked at it yet. It's another ticker on as Stellar, but I'll be doing a deep dive on it here soon. Atlantic Living, Zach, first spot ETF next week, Genius Act next week, Fed rate cut next week. Do you think that all three things happen? I'm actually hesitant to say that they're going to cut rates. I think that they're going to leave them unchanged for one more meeting. Unless something drastic happens, but it's likely that inflation's going to be coming down slightly in tomorrow's CPI lie, but nothing drastic, and I don't think that the Fed's going to cut rates. I think that they're going to try to stick it to President Trump once again. So I don't think that that'll happen. And then the Genius Act, yes, I think that that's right around the corner. I do think that that's coming. I saw some reports that it might get passed this week or next week. Yeah, I think that that's done. And then the first spot ETF, I think that we're a month or two out. The Solana ETF, it looks like it's going to get approved here soon. XRP should be going live at about the same time or maybe a little bit after. But I give it a month or two before the first XRP ETF. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like we're right there. We're right there. I'm missing some of the super chats. This is not good. I saw way more super chats come in as I was going through all of my ranting and raving through the first part of this episode. Where did all my super chats go? I know that we got some more. Huh. Let me refresh. See if I can catch up on our chat here. South Korea election thoughts? Yeah, the new president, I think he said that we got clarity for stablecoins coming. Or at least, yeah, that's the plan. So that sounds pretty bullish. We want that because Korea makes up such a large portion of the XRP market. So that's bullish, yes. Super chats got hacked. Yeah, guys, if you dropped a super chat while we were getting started, my apologies. I don't know where it went. I'm trying to find them right now. 16th of June, important for XRP. Yes, that's a good reminder, actually. I forgot to mention that. In the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, the deadline is June 16th. So in the next week, in the next 6 days, we're going to see something happen in that SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Most likely, we're going to see the SEC and Ripple file another request to withdraw the injunction, and hopefully they submit it properly, and Judge Torres will accept that, and then we'll be off to the races as far as settlement, injunction being lifted. Yeah, should be here by June 16th. Yes. How do I think the XDC will perform? Short Rambo, thank you for the 2 spot. I think the XDC is running to 40 to 60 cents this bull run. Shout out from the Philippines. Hey, George, Lorenzo, I appreciate that. I just had some really good Filipino food over the weekend. Got together with a few of my buddies and their families, and we were down at the beach with the kids having a good time. And they had a Filipino food truck that pulled up with the I forget what the lumpias. Lumpias, is that what they're called? In the pancet, is that what the noodles are called? The pancet, or the noodles, whatever they are. They weren't as good as my buddy. I have a Filipino friend from high school, and his mom made the best pancet, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Lumpia and the pancet. I'm probably butchering that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yes, Decent. I have some news on Decent that I wanted to mention. Decent just added a Constellation Network validator. Check this out. Excited to join the Constellation Network as an official DAG validator? We are here to serve the DAG community with secure validation, reliable uptime, and trusted infrastructure powered by the Decent wallet. Together, we are helping shape the future of decentralized infrastructure. Now, I have a link for Decent down below. If you guys are looking for a good cold storage wallet, Decent's one of my favorites now because they have XDC, they have Zebek, they have DAG, and they have quite a few other tickers that other wallets don't have. So I got a link for Decent linked up down below in our community resources if you're looking to get that one. I wanted to share this one too, because this is what breaks my heart. This is from Saul. He says, I sometimes want to cry thinking of the salt of the earth people that full ported out of XRP prior to 11/4/24, right before the election, right? He says, I know one person that did so with 6 million XRP. That $3 million would have been $13 million right now. That $3 million would now be $13 million. That's not even accounting for what it would have been up at the top, right? If even just accounting for that back up at $3. 6 million XRP. That would have been worth over 18 million at the top. That would have been over 20 million when XRP was at $3.40. And they full ported out of XRP right before the election. Rest in peace to Will Fix. Yes, I saw that. I didn't know. I don't know what happened to Will, but that's very unfortunate, man. I saw him starting to make XRP content, starting to get some traction. He had some videos go viral, and I was here for it. You know what I'm saying? I not that I necessarily agree with everything that everybody puts out, but I'm here for just, you know, good people with good intentions trying to share the word about XRP. Right? You know, we don't have to necessarily agree on every point or price prediction, but just the fact that you had another good guy spreading the good word about XRP taken too soon, rest in peace, and we will definitely continue fighting the good fight on his behalf, praying for his family and loved ones right now. Yeah. What are we waiting on for price movement? So volumes are down right now, and the talk of the town right now is just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. People are distracted by the riots in the streets. People are distracted by Trump and the trade deals. There's just uncertainty out there, which is why there's a record amount of money market funds, basically cash on the sidelines, is over $7.24 trillion. And that's because people are scared. Now, are we scared? No. It takes a special breed to be aping into XRP meme coins while all hell is breaking loose around us, right? We're not scared over here. But the broader market is. Once that broader market gets the word that the trade deals are going to be signed, peace deals are going to be reached, and the Fed's going to cut rates, and a big, beautiful bill is going to be passed. And I'm not saying that it's a big, beautiful bill. I'm saying that they're going to make the money printer go burr to the tune of adding 2 to 5 trillion to our deficit. The numbers go higher in that environment. Make no mistake. There's no scenario where that happens and asset prices don't go up. Any other comments or questions, guys? Will the manipulation stop before the spot ETFs is out? I wouldn't expect XRP to break much above $4 or $5 before the ETFs go live at this point. Like I said, you know, $4 to $5 I definitely could see just based off of retail inflows. But we're watching the inflows and the outflows right now, and we just don't have enough to break us up past those levels without ETF inflows, in my opinion. But once again, the spot ETFs are set to go live here by Q3 of this year. So we're talking about, you know, a few months away from those ETFs going live. But, you know, some people are going to be impatient with XRP only going to $4 next month, right? Zach, in your opinion, is it a good time to jump into the AMM? For example, RLUSD versus XRP? No, because XRP is going to appreciate against the dollar over the next few months and the rest of this year. The time to go into the RLUSD XRP liquidity pool, well, depending on what you want, but for me, it's going to be when XRP is topping out. When XRP is topping out at, say, 10, 20, $30, and it starts to come back down, that's when I would go into the AMM, because the AMM is going to be trading between those, between both assets, and because RLUSD is appreciating against XRP, you're going to be actually making more XRP in return, right? So when XRP is appreciating more against the dollar, you're going to be earning more RLUSD. When RLUSD is appreciating more against XRP, you're going to be making more XRP. So the time to go into the AMM, if you want to make more XRP, would be when XRP is topping out. Otherwise, if you invest in the AMM now, you're probably going to end up with less XRP as XRP goes up in price. Zach, do you agree with Waters Above prediction of $15 XRP by the end of July? I saw that. I watched that video, and I do agree with a very strong move in July. I think that he has the timing right. $15? He's more qualified to give out a $15 prediction than I am from a technical standpoint. Now, the fact that he's calling for a $15 in July, I would say we probably are going to break through at least through 5 with ease. You know, once again, I am being ridiculously conservative. I know you guys want to talk about big numbers, and I know you want to talk about it happening now. I'm staying conservative because everybody wants to crucify me if I say XRP is going to $3 and we only go to 265 like we did last month. Oh my gosh, he's the worst guy ever. When XRP goes up to 390 and then comes back down and it doesn't hit $4, you're going to tell me that I was wrong? And sorry, I err on the side of being ridiculously conservative. But I do believe that July we get fireworks, literally. And metaphorically speaking, for XRP in these markets, yes. Yeah. What's going to bring XRP down? Retail. At that point, it's all about institutional capital. Correct. The reason why we will set a higher floor price above 5, 10, maybe even 20 or 30 bucks, right, is going to be because the inflows come in and only a limited amount of outflows come out of XRP. So we end up parking at 5, 10, 15, $20 XRP after running up to 30 or 40 bucks. Yeah. And you're seeing all the different use cases of XRP and what the XRP ledger is being used for right now. And it's only going to pick up from here. Most of the cryptocurrency space doesn't even know about XRP DeFi. I just pulled XRP out of Caleb and Brown earlier today. Yeah, it's a good point. I should mention, I just went to pull cash out of Caleb and Brown, and they responded to me in 1 minute. 1 minute. I messaged my broker. I said, yes. Can we send it to this account? In 1 minute, they responded and said, yep, it's initiated. It's on the way. And I haven't checked, but last time I withdrew money out of Caleb and Brown, it was there in less than 24 hours. No limit, no withdrawal fees. I really want you guys, for those of you guys that are going to be trading this bull run, whether it be XRP or other cryptocurrencies, I know that the Caleb and Brown fee sounds very steep, 3.5%. Some of you guys are whales. You might even be able to negotiate it lower, especially for you whales. Those of you that got M's in the bank account in terms of XRP, you might be able to negotiate that a little bit. But I know 3.5% sounds steep, but you need to account for your limitations, the slippage, trading fees, withdrawal limits, withdrawal fees that you will be hit with on other platforms. Because what might look like a higher fee and cost on Caleb and Brown actually ends up being cheaper than other platforms that hit you with slippage, that hit you with the trading fee, that hit you with the withdrawal fee, that limit how much you can withdraw. And the next thing you know, it takes you 10 transactions to get $1 million out of these platforms to your bank account. I've been nothing but impressed with Caleb and Brown. Once again, do they have all my XRP? Far from it. Far from it. None of these exchanges have a considerable amount of my XRP. Because I'm not selling a considerable amount of my XRP. It's just not going to happen. I'm holding it. But I have XRP parked on Caleb and Brown, Uphold, and Coinbase. Most of it on Caleb and Brown and Uphold. And all of that XRP that's on those platforms, I plan on selling. All of my long-term holdings are off of those platforms. But I did this. I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. I sold XRP on Coinbase, Uphold, and Caleb and Brown and sent the money to my bank account from each platform. The cheapest was Coinbase, but that was because I pay for Coinbase Advanced. So my fees are next to nothing, and I have no withdrawal fee, no withdrawal limit over on Coinbase too. But I pay $30 a month for Coinbase Advanced. So Coinbase was the cheapest, Caleb and Brown was the second cheapest, and then Uphold was the most expensive of the three options for selling XRP to dollars and sending the dollars to my bank account. Which is why I said I would highly encourage you guys that are going to trade, not just your XRP, but your other cryptos, and you're going to cash it out, test it out, and run through the math yourself. You missed some more super chats. 1970, let me circle back. I sorry for using that term. I know I don't want to sound like Jen Psaki up here from the Biden White House, circle back. But I think that you gave me a super chat earlier, Legend, and I think I missed it. Okay. DKNY767, thank you for the 5 spot. Thoughts on the timings of the Japan reverse carry trade timing and its effect on XRP price? So, yes, the Japan bonds are at the highest level in 40 years. It is breaking right now. It is part of a global margin call that is breaking right now. And it's why the Fed and these other central banks are going to have to come in and bail things out, right? Now, last August, they kicked the can down the road. They're coming up at a point where that's no longer going to be an option, right? And I think that you're going to see this break at some point this year. And everything's going to be exposed to that, including cryptocurrency. When you start to add on other catalysts that drop after the Japan carry trade sparks, and, you know, it leads all the way back to the cryptocurrency space and Tether folding, or at least being scrutinized. And maybe Tether does survive. But even if Tether, you know, goes through a rough patch, you got flows that are going to be moving to other assets like ROUSD. You get Bitcoin will be correlated with Tether. You start to get into those issues, you see a rotation of capital into XRP. So it plays into how we're positioned, but in that event, everything gets smacked, just like it did back in August of last year. Everything went down. And so, yeah, I think that the timing of that is where it's happening now. It's happening now, right? I haven't seen anything in the past couple days out of Japan, but I know that they're at the highest yields ever for their 40-year and 30-year bonds. Jeff, thank you for the 10 spot. Cheers, Zach. Zebek keeps bleeding. How low before we were going back up? Like I said, I'm looking for it to catch support at a quarter of a penny to 3/4 of a quarter of a penny to 1/3 of a penny. So 0.0025 to 0.003. That's where I'm looking for Zebek to catch some support. I'll show you on the chart here real quick. And we're basically already down to that level, right? So we're talking about coming down into here, 0.003 to 0.0025. This is where I'm looking for us to catch support. Even up here at 0.0035, we could catch some support because that was the previous all-time high. Now, what's interesting to note here, too, is that it went all the way up to my 4.236 extension. We nailed that. And that's why we pull the fibs. It went all the way up here to this point, 4.236, and then pulled back down. Perfectly played. And guys, this is exactly why my targets were half a penny to a penny. Because half a penny was right above the 2618. And then 0.006 was at the 3618. And so I said, yep, it might run up all the way to a penny right up here. But I expect it to top out at that level. We got pretty close already, but we already broke through that first target of half a penny. I think that the sellers on Zebek are running thin. I believe that the sell pressure is coming to an end. Dennis says, as soon as Torah's decision, BlackRock files $50 XRP. Yeah, so there's no way that BlackRock doesn't file a spot XRP ETF. There's just no way. And I do think that that'll take us to, double-digit XRP. Can I look at the RSI on Zebek? Sure. Where is my RSI? Yeah. So, it's still RSI is still at about 47. Sellers are getting exhausted. Yeah, sellers are wearing thin here. Yep. Another one that, I mean, goodness gracious, dag, it shouldn't be here. It just shouldn't be below 4 cents. It's ridiculous. The upside on DAG right now is ridiculous. Ridiculous. So undervalued. The tokenomics are fantastic. And now they've gone live with the delegated staking, and the next thing that's coming out for DAG is the DEX. For those of you guys that missed the deep dive that I did on DAG, go to my 2025 coin review playlist, and it's linked up in there. Goodness gracious, I always do this. I pour myself a nice cold adult beverage, and then I rant for an hour and a half, and I only take one sip of it. What's the ticker? It's DAG, D-A-G, Constellation Network. Dennis, how'd you do that? He says he doubled up his money on Zebek, but then lost it on another meme coin. And that's the thing, is that I've learned not to overtrade. Right now, my portfolio is stretched more thin than it's ever been stretched. But I never compromise my XRP holdings to go play around with these other coins. Whether that be XRP meme coins, Zebek, DAG, SHX, any of these other ones. I never sold off XRP to go buy these. So despite my portfolio being spread thin, I never sacrificed XRP. But I'm uncomfortable with the amount of cryptos that I hold right now. There's a lot of crap that I got that I need to get rid of. But I've learned not to overtrade. Especially after you go knock a few out of the park. You know, and we just did that with Zebek. And a lot of people, I've seen it time and time again, and I've done it myself. You knock one out of the park. Everybody made money on Zebek. And you know what everybody wants now? The next ticker. Well, I gave you the next ticker today. I talked about SHX, right? So I did find you another ticker, not financial advice, but what I've learned is you will put pressure on yourself to repeat and chase similar results, and you will end up over trading trying to catch that next pump instead of just enjoying the victory, sitting back, letting some things pass, and then making your next move. Not rushing into the next play. See, back in my inexperienced earlier trading days, I would have already made my next move. I would have already said, hey, here's the next ticker, guys. We're going to see this one run up next. And I patiently waited and waited. And then, I mean, it's only been a couple weeks. But then I came across the news that Stronghold was getting ready to escrow their tokens. And that's been my big red flag on SHX. I've been waiting to do a deep dive on SHX. But one of the things that I'm so bearish in, and one of the biggest red flags on that project, is the circulating supply is only about 5 billion. Someone said it was maybe 15 billion, but still, the max supply is 100 billion. 5 billion or 15 billion circulating supply, it's only 5 or 15% of the total supply. That is a trust me bro situation that I do not feel comfortable with. Now that they're going to lock up a considerable amount of that SHX in escrow, I think that's going to be a catalyst to pump Stronghold. But I also think it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. But it's a project that I am bullish on because the Stellar ecosystem needs good, legitimate utility projects. It's the same reason why I was bullish on Zebek, because the Solana ecosystem is in shambles. And the Solana degens keep on getting wrecked on all their meme coins. And eventually, at least the way that I saw it, they were going to capitulate and say, well, maybe I should stop trading all these crap coins and go into some real utility. And so, yeah, some of them would go back into Solana and just hold Sol. But my prediction was that they were going to roll into Zebek, because Zebek's an actual real utility, real company addressing a real market of size. And that played out perfectly. Zach, I'm being attacked on YouTube. What's happening on YouTube? What's happening here? Are we under attack? It might be because we don't have enough likes on this video. Have you smashed it yet for us? That might help us. Make sure you guys have liked this video. Greatly appreciate it. Everything's at zachrector.com. All of our community resources, the XRP family merch. This shirt that I have on today is not available, but I love this one. A huge shout out to Chris from the XRP family. He gave me this shirt. I really like this one. What he did, what this one is it's the book that Satoshi Nakamoto wrote, Ripples and Waves, but then he put the laugh now, but one day XRP will rule the world or run the world. That meme with the monkey riding the surfboard on top of the wave. I really like this one. This is a nice shirt. Nice shirt. The video cut out for a second. Lots of ads. Yeah, I don't know, guys. We might be under attack. A little too over the target. Yes, I did talk about Joey. Very bullish on it still. It's getting ready to go hit another new all-time high. In fact, I'll be honest with you guys. I just removed. I had an order for Joey to sell some, and I removed it. I'll be honest with you guys. I had a sell order just a little bit higher than where we're at right now. I removed it because I'm gonna see how this one plays out. It's too early. I'm holding. Yeah. So I had a sell order. I think it was at 0.0018, and I'll take you back to the chart here. So it was right up here at 0.0018. And that was the last sell order that I had on Joey. And I just removed it. That was like yesterday or the day before. I went to XP Market. I canceled the order. I said, forget about it. This thing's going to run a little bit more. Or in this case, hop. Every time I say that, it reminds me of Miss Rachel. For those of you guys who have kids, you might know about the song, Hop Little Bunny, Hop, 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 Hop Little Bunny, Hop, Hop, Hop. That's what this one reminds me of. I was just at the zoo last week with the family. Got to see, it actually wasn't a kangaroo, it was a wallaby. For the Aussies in the chat, maybe you can help explain the difference. I don't know, they look the same to me. Hop, little bunny, hop, hop, hop. Yeah. Yeah. Shout out Miss Rachel. She did a new video. She had been off of YouTube for like 5 months. And she just came back and did a video on potty training. We're in the middle of potty training right now, so we just watched it for the first time yesterday. And I was looking at that setup. I'm thinking, dang, Miss Rachel got the upgrade on that setup. That was a clean production. As a fellow YouTube creator, I got to appreciate the hustle. I got to appreciate that. Where can you buy Joey? It's on the XRP ledger. So you're going to use Zalman or First Ledger. I have First Ledger linked up down below. It's probably the best platform to for ease of access. But you can use XMagnetic or XP Market as well to trade the XRP Ledger tokens. I would encourage everybody to get familiar with the XRP Ledger DEX. I'm not encouraging you guys to go trade meme coins. I wouldn't dare do that. But I would encourage you guys to understand how to use the XRP Ledger, the DEX, the AMM, just because getting familiar with it could be valuable, when it comes time to take some profit on XRP, if you're going to do so, if you understand how to use the DEX, you could trade your XRP into ROUSD using the decentralized exchange on the XRP ledger, not have to pay any exchange fees, not have any issues, and it provides you another opportunity for capturing that liquidity when XRP does go to your sell target. So once again, I'm using Coinbase, Uphold, and Caleb and Brown, but I also am ready to roll XRP over to ROUSD just by utilizing the XRP Ledger DEX. And then what I'll do with that ROUSD is then I'll send it probably to Uphold, where I can earn 5% on the ROUSD while I wait for XRP to come back down, and then I'll roll that ROUSD back into XRP. How was the conference? It was fantastic. It made me so bullish. It made me so inspired. The XRP family is growing. I was sitting in the green room, getting ready to go on stage, talking with Sal Gaberti from Ethereum, talking about his ETF. And I'm talking with a guy from Wall Street who's telling me that he's actively trying to get marketing material to sell XRP. He's in talks with Ripple to get more marketing material and to further his understanding of XRP so that he can better sell his products, which get exposure to XRP. We weren't doing that last year. We weren't doing that at the first XRP Las Vegas. That was day one. Day two, I'm speaking with the president of MoonPay, Keith Neumeyer, backstage. And I'm talking with him about how they've fully integrated the Solana DEX. And now they have the ability where you can use SolPay to use your Solana to pay for your coffee or whatever the heck you want at any store, basically with the card that they're using. And I think that they partnered up with MasterCard for that. Another platform that's getting ready to fully integrate the XRP Ledger DEX. That's MoonPay. This wasn't happening just a few years ago. It's happening now. These guys are bullish as hell on XRP. They are looking for marketing material to help sell XRP. Keith was telling me about how their posts and their social media on Twitter and everything, how their posts about XRP get 5 to 10 times more reactions and views than their other content. And I said, welcome. Welcome to the XRP family. You bet. The momentum behind our ecosystem, and in particular XRP, the asset, is absolutely massive. What target are you looking at to sell SHX? So I'm actually going to pull up Dex Screener right now because I want to take a look at this with you guys. So let's see if I can find this is SHX USDT on Uniswap. No, this is not going to work. See, this is where it gets difficult on Stronghold. It's just not on many exchanges. Now, the previous all-time high for Stronghold is just shy of 6 cents. Let me pull up SHX. So here's the all-time chart. Only a $73 million market cap, which is nothing. It will be so easy to move this coin. 5.79 billion circulating supply. but the all-time high right here was 0.059, so just shy of 6 cents. The problem with Stronghold is it's not on any good exchanges. It's on Bitrue, it's on Uniswap, it's on Gate, it's on MEXC, but it's also on the Stellar DEX. So for those of you guys that have a Lobster wallet or a Phantom wallet, I believe that you can get it on Phantom wallet as well too. You can swap SHX or Tether into Stellar XLM or Tether into Stronghold. So that's how I got it, was on the Lobster wallet. But I should add, watch out for all of the Stellar tokens, all the scam tokens that are on Stellar. There's a lot of them. XXQXX, thank you for the 5 spot. Has your price point changed within the bull run? No. No, the timeline's just been extended. I thought that we were going to be at an all-time high for XRP in March and April. The tariffs went live and delayed that. So we've been delayed. The SEC case should have been already concluded. That was delayed. The ETF should already been live. That's been delayed. So price targets have not changed. The timeline has just been extended. In fact, if anything, my targets have actually gone higher. I have more conviction in a $20 to $30 XRP since November and December, when we started to track the inflows and we started to put together our XRP market cap multiplier. And we got to observe just how little liquidity needs to come into XRP to move it substantially. So I would argue that price targets haven't changed, but my conviction in those targets has actually grown stronger. What is the name of the DEX on the XRP ledger? So it's just the decentralized exchange of the XRP ledger, but there's different interfaces for the DEX. So you could use X Magnetic, you can use XP Market, Anados Finance. Zaman Wallet has a DEX Trade app. There's others as well too. But basically, you're using interfaces that allow you to interact with the XRP Ledger DEX. I use X Magnetic and XP Market. And First Ledger as well too. I have First Ledger linked up down below. Yeah, Stellar X, that's another DEX AMM. The Great Humongous says, I like the old Zach talking about 5 figures. You know, I've handed off the reins of talking about 4 and 5 digit XRP to other content creators for now. I still believe in very high prices of XRP. I still believe in $100 plus. I still believe there's a potential to even go to 4 and 5 digits, absolutely. I've just handed off the reins and I've allowed other content creators to take that role in talking about those numbers. It puts a big target on your back, and I talk enough smack to the meme coin, crap coin traders, to the DeFi doofus morons, to the SEC, to our government, to the Looney Tune whack jobs. I took a crap, so I don't need more targets on my back. And so I just let others talk about $1,000 and $10,000 and $100,000 XRP. It's okay. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. If you believe that XRP is going to $1,000, when do you think it's going to happen? I want to hear from you guys in the chat. Where's the vibe check at? Can we get a vibe check? For those of you that believe we're going to $1,000, when? Short Rambo, thank you for the 2 spot. Have I looked into XRP healthcare? I have. Not in depth. I don't like the way it was marketed. I don't like that I can't look into more of the details. You know, these press releases that they've put out, some of the acquisitions that they've made. Sounds interesting, but they're acquiring companies in Africa that I've never heard of. So I'm just not qualified to do and conduct due diligence on what XRP Healthcare has done within their business in Africa. And if they're in other regions too, I don't know. But, you know, I just don't know, right? They're acquiring these firms in Africa in the healthcare industry, and I have no idea, right? So I'm just not qualified. I'm just not qualified to say whether or not XRP healthcare is legit, but some of the ways that they were being marketed gave me not the best feeling, to be nice. Okay, Dennis says 1 year. Rambo says 5 years, 2030, 2027, 2033. We're talking about $1,000 XRP, not 10,000. God forbid we talk about a $10,000 XRP. That'd be too much, right? We don't want to do that. But $1,000 XRP. When? 2038, 2050, 2029. A lot of people saying that by 2030. A lot of people by 20. Yeah. Wow. That's good. I would say the consensus is split 50-50 between before 2030 and after 2030. Atlantic Living, I know, man. I told Jake in Vegas, I said, brother, I praise God every time you talk about XRP to $1,000 because I know what kind of target it puts on. But you know, I don't agree, right? I like Jay, and he knows I don't agree with him on this one, right? $1,000 this year, I don't see it happening, but God bless it if it does. God bless it. I'm here for it. Yeah, I think he's off his rocker with that prediction. $1,000 this year. Ooh wee. Turn up, huh? Please explain the high market cap being acceptable for XRP. It would probably just the best way for me to answer that would just be to refer you to XRP market cap myth exposed. Type that into YouTube. My video will pull up. And what we demonstrate is how easy it is for XRP to move based off of very small inflows, how drastically the market cap changes. And so that's the best way that I could answer that for you. Is just say, go look up XRP market cap myth exposed. Go look up the video that I did over the weekend, 380x multiplier. XRP 380x multiplier. I put out the video of just over the weekend. And we demonstrate here time and time again with real data that it's not a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's not a matter of, oh, XRP can't go to a $50 trillion market cap because it would need 50 trillion of inflows. It would probably need 1/100th to 1/500th of that amount of inflows, because the multiplier that we're observing for XRP is anywhere between 50x and 500x during periods of aggressive inflows. You are getting people in an uproar, Zach. I've learned how to be pretty effective at that. Do you mind sharing your top 5 cryptos that you're most bullish on? You know, XRP is my number 1. Under that, my biggest holdings below that used to be XLM, XDC, and at this point, I've gone in heavier on some of my XRP meme coins than I have some of those other. I mean, I've gone in pretty heavy on some of those, but I've flipped those. But I would say the coins that I'm most bullish on right now are XRP, XLM, XDC, DAG. DAG, I still think we see a 10x on DAG. So there's 4. There's 4. Yes, Legend, absolutely. Is XRP Unleashed on Amazon yet? Yes, it is, brother. Yeah. Yes, it is. It's on Google Play, iTunes, and Amazon now. Which I gotta go look that up. I haven't even looked that up yet to go watch it myself. I'm gonna be having a party. I'll probably have a watch party with my family, and we'll go over that. Atlantic Living says, Zach, you got to have Matt Hogan on. He is not calling for bearish movements in 2026 or 2027. He said traditional bear markets are done. You got to go into a great detail with him. So interesting. Yeah. So he was actually at XRP Las Vegas speaking directly to that. And if you look at what Bitwise has predicted, they're predicting 150, 160 billion of inflows into the ETFs this year, and then over 300 billion. And I think this is actually just the Bitcoin ETFs. They're predicting 300 billion into the Bitcoin ETFs by next year, but by the end of 2026, I should say. So Bitwise is very bullish, and I think that they have a very good perspective because they're in the business, right? And so to that point, what does that mean? It means that XRP goes up to 20 or 30 bucks, but then comes back down and sets a floor price at 10 or 15 bucks, right? We will sustain a much higher price. And we never go back below 10 bucks. We never go back below 5 bucks. We never go back below 2 bucks ever again. Many people are going to miss this. They don't understand what's happening right now. Stream. I was saying that price is a distraction of future value. Price is a distraction of future value. I was saying that at 20 cents. I was saying that at 30 cents, 50 cents, $1. I'm saying it at 2 bucks, and I'm going to be saying it at 20 bucks. Because we'll be chopping sideways at 10, 15, 20 bucks. And the same comments, I'm going to be having deja vu. Zach, I'm tired of this XRP thing. I'm out. Okay? You know? Zach, this XRP thing isn't doing anything. I'm gone. Okay. Am I going to have a one-on-one with Coach JV? That might be fun. Yeah, I like Coach a lot. I didn't get a chance to catch up with him in Vegas. I did see the Merlin squad. I did see Abs. He was scared to arm wrestle me. I'll throw that out there. I think he was scared. You may have seen the picture of me and Abs. I sized him up. And and he ran away. What can I say? He ran away. So I don't know. Are we lagging? I don't know what happened to Abs. He ran off on me. After we sized up, he ran off on me. No, it was all good fun. It really was. And no, I think it would be fun to have Coach JV on one of these days. Yeah, that'd be good. Solo Tech's thoughts? Yeah, so I'm bullish on Sologenic. I really am. In fact, Sologenic is actually one of the coins that I'm the most bullish on, I would say. Thanks for reminding me of that one. The reason being, excuse me, Sologenic, the previous all-time high is about $6 or 6 XRP. And right now, Sologenic is at about, what is it, 20, 30 cents? 26 cents. Sologenic had one of the biggest runs, one of the biggest election pumps out of all of the cryptos. It pumped 948% after the election. It's bled back out here, but basically all of the sellers are exhausted on Sologenic. It's at 26 cents, and this thing, I mean, even if it just goes halfway to its previous all-time high, you're talking about a 10-bagger with ease. If it goes back to its previous all-time high of $6, we're talking about something ridiculous. We're talking about 2,400%. We're talking about a 24x. How would you guys like to bag a 24x? That's just going back to its previous all-time high. Now, what's interesting about Sologenic too is that it's a coin on the XRP ledger. So I've been buying Sologenic on the XRP ledger DEX using XRP, but I've also received Sologenic in my airdrops on Uphold. Now, I haven't bought much Sologenic on Uphold. I think that I've only bought more Sologenic on the DEX, trading my XRP for Sologenic. But I did so back when I did my deep dive on Sologenic, which was a few months ago. If you guys missed that one, go to my 2025 coin review playlist, go to the Solo deep dive, and in that deep dive, you'll hear me give you the full rundown. Now, since the deep dive, Sologenic has partnered up with Texture Capital, and we knew that they'd partnered up when I did the deep dive, but now they're a little bit further along in actually going live with their Solotex platform, which is going to be a platform for trading crypto and traditional assets as well. So I still don't care to hold Sologenic long term because I struggle to see how they're going to drive utility and value to the Solo token. The Solotex platform runs on Corium. So I still don't know how they're going to drive value back to Solo, but I still think that Solo pumps. And you can use Sologenic to make more dollars, or you could use Sologenic to make more XRP, depending on how you want to play it. But I think that the upside on Sologenic is massive, because even just going to its half of its previous all-time high, you got a 10-bagger. Once again, if it goes to its previous all-time high from the current levels, you got a 24x. If it even just went up to 3, you got a 10-bagger. Zach, for many of us that don't have the option of Caleb and Brown, would you recommend selling large orders into USDC as a first step, then transfer USDC into a trusted platform, then exit into cash? Yeah, so I trust USDC definitely more than Tether. Definitely wouldn't recommend using Tether. If possible, avoid Tether at all costs. But yeah, so USDC and then transfer to a trusted platform. Yeah. If you're looking to cash out, yeah, I would probably, depending on where you're at, Coinbase and Kraken are probably the cheapest options for US users. But if you're in the US, then you would be able to use Caleb and Brown. So I'm assuming that maybe you're not. Maybe you're in Canada. UK also, there's no service for UK from Caleb and Brown. So I would explore Coinbase, Kraken. I don't know what other platforms are available up in Canada that would be good for that. Uphold. Uphold's also been good. Their slippage and their fees are a little much. But if all you're doing, so this is actually a great example. Uphold at times hits you pretty hard on the slippage when the order book runs thin. So if you're able to capture your profit by going XRP to RLUSD, you could then transfer that RLUSD or that USDC onto Uphold, and then you would just be using Uphold to cash out. You wouldn't be using Uphold to trade from XRP to USDC or RLUSD. You would be using the DEX. You would be using a different platform, and then you would roll that into Uphold, where you'd be able to cash out the RLUSD or USDC from there. And I think that the only thing that you would be hit with on there is their withdrawal fee, which is 1.75%. Like I said, on Uphold, they have the withdrawal fee. I don't believe that they have withdrawal limits. You have to look into that. But they do have a withdrawal fee, which is 1.75%. So, I mean, that adds up, right? You're going to cash out $1 million, 1.75% for cashing out. It's pretty hefty. Okay. Now, let me just check here real quick. I want to make sure that I didn't miss any other super chats. Dennis, thank you for the 5 spot. Besides just the period of time for inflows, it is price driver. It is the flux of compression of time frame that drives price up or down. And that's the big what if. JP Morgan predicts 4 to 8 billion in inflows. I'm predicting 10 to 20 billion. But how quickly do those inflows come? If those inflows come very aggressively, very, very dramatically, 20 to 30 bucks. Dennis, I know you mentioned 50. Sure. Guys, there's other catalysts that could drop too. Supply shock, the lack of XRP that's available on exchanges. This gets very interesting very quickly, depending on how fast those inflows come. Uphold only lets me withdraw 25,000 at a time. Okay, be careful there. Yeah. Yep. And that's why I got myself other options, right? Some of these platforms are better than others when it comes to service, when it comes to fees, when it comes to the cryptos that they have on their platform. Yep. Mac, thank you for the 2 spot. Fidelity 401k supports BTC. FYI, if you're there. Yeah, it's going to get exciting here. Now, JP Morgan put out last week that they'll accept Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs as collateral for loans. And this is what I'm excited about, is the ability to not even have to sell off your XRP at all and just be able to borrow against your XRP. And it's going to be good because all of these platforms and institutions are going to be competing for our business. So I'm very excited for that. All right, guys. Hey, I'm going to wrap up this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure. We ran it up for 2 hours tonight. Please help us out by liking this video, helping us out by sharing our content out far and wide. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com, whether it's the XRP family merch, precious metals, crypto exchanges, wallets, or you want to join our private community. We have it all available. Quick links in the description of the YouTube video or at zachrector.com. We couldn't do it without your support, so I just want to say thank you for all of those of you that like our content, share it out. The community resources are available for you guys, and we actually have some new community resources on the way as well for some other services, for some other things that you guys might be needing to take advantage of. So stay tuned for that. But really, it means the world to us when you do support the cause. We'll see you guys tomorrow with some more content, and I really greatly appreciate your support, okay? Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. God bless you all. Thank you.